There's some other Jewish legends that are very, very influential in a lot of different, a lot of different anime and video games. One goes back much further than the Golem of Prague, which is the legend of the Primordial Monsters. This is first mentioned in the Book of Job. Behemoth and Leviathan are these great monsters. They are Behemoth is the greatest monster that has ever walked the earth. Leviathan is the greatest monster that has ever swum the seas. They are eternal enemies. They hate each other. At the battle between them, if they ever meet and fight, it will mean total devastation to everything around them. It'll be practically the end of the world. The ancient rabbis, recognizing that they left one out, came up with Ziz, the primordial beast of the air, the greatest creature that has ever flown. And they're so powerful that only God himself, or very rarely in some of the stories, Ziz, can stop Behemoth and Leviathan from fighting this battle that threatens to destroy the world. So, the beast of the land and the beast of the sea had this apocalyptic battle, and only the beast of the air can possibly stop them.
That's what I thought of instantly.
There you have Behemoth, Leviathan, and Ziz fighting it out. For the record, Pokemon has more different kinds of folklore and legend in it than anything else I have ever seen. There's something like 20 or 30 different cultures' myths adapted into Pokemon. Not to mention all the ones that come from obscure biology. I love the diversity of those monsters.
The panel was really good for that.
Huh?
There's a mythology in Pokemon.
Yes, was that Charles Dunbar?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
It was awesome.
I am so sad I had to work and missed that. Now, still talking about Behemoth and Leviathan. Now, Behemoth is Hebrew. Arabic is very closely related to Hebrew, so the Arabic name for Behemoth is very similar to Behemoth. It's Bahamut. Final Fantasy, another series that likes to draw from lots of different mythologies, kind of blended Behemoth and Ziz to get Bahamut. And of course, they use Leviathan all over the place.
Yeah, I think they started doing that with Final Fantasy III. They had Leviathan's first appearance there.
Yep.
And I'm talking about NES 3.
Yeah,
not SNES
exactly.
3, which is actually 6.
Yes, you are correct. And they also used Leviathan very heavily in 4. Leviathan has a huge part of the plot in 4.
Yeah,
he's the sea monster.
The king of the Esper realm, I believe.
Exactly. Now, let's go back even further to an even older Jewish legend, all the way back to the book of Genesis. Lilith and Chava. In English, Lilith and Eve. Lilith is basically in Genesis there are two accounts of the creation of humanity. At first, it's just going through the 6 days of creation. It says, on the 6th day, God created man and woman. And that's all it says. Then, a little while later, it goes into more detail and tells the whole story of taking Adam is lonely and God takes a rib from Adam and he makes Eve and so forth. These stories, if you think about it, are kind of contradictory because the first one implies that man and woman were created at the same time. The second one implies that woman was created later. And medieval rabbis actually older than medieval, ancient rabbis struggled with how do you reconcile these two stories. And so they came up with the solution that woman was created twice. Lilith was the first woman. Lilith was created at the same time as Adam, and Lilith was equal to Adam. She refuses to submit to Adam because she sees herself as equal to Adam. She doesn't want to be his, little, wifey that'll make babies for him. She wants to be treated as an equal, and, this does not go along with, ancient Judaism was kind of a sexist culture. This wasn't really, they saw this as, a really bad, evil thing, so they they said, you know, Lilith was terribly punished. She was exiled from Eden long before Adam and Eve were. She is raped by angels. And because of this angelic rape, she is eternally pregnant and eternally giving birth to monsters. All sorts of horrible monsters. And she's also, in later myth, she gets identified as first with the succubi. She tries to steal, you know, seed and life energy from men in an attempt to give birth to a normal human and break this eternal cycle of every 9 months she gives birth to a monster and then is immediately pregnant again with the next monster. And she has this whole race of, you know, monstrous children that are born from her. In recent years, because of her refusal to submit to Adam, she's become a bit of a feminist icon. There's been a lot of attempts to kind of reclaim and reimagine Lilith as a more positive, you know, or as a more positive or neutral kind of a creature. But in the, you know, in the old legends, Lilith is really, really evil. There's a lot of archaeological evidence to suggest that Lilith was very feared in the ancient Middle East. There's, you know, you find all kinds of amulets to protect you from Lilith, and invocations to the angels that raped her to protect you from her, and so forth. But going back to Genesis, so Adam now has no one. He's lonely. You know, God creates Chava in English, Eve in Japanese, Hawa. Anybody here played Xenogears? Anyone? Yeah, Hawa is Eve. This is the second account of human creation. She is, quote unquote, properly submissive to Adam, and as such, she gets to be the mother of all humans, the ancestor of the entire, you know, human race. As I kind of implied in my first panel, Ava has fun playing with this. They basically say, yeah, this story was close, but there was a cover-up. The actual mother of all humanity was Lilith all along, because humanity is the race of monsters. We're the usurpers that took the world from its proper owners. And Ava is, of course, the Ava. You know, and this has always been my answer. You know, one of the big questions on the series is, why do they have 14-year-olds piloting these things? My answer has always been, because if you want to get the universal mother fighting on your side, what better way than to give her a child to protect? So, going back to Lilith and Chava. There is a lot of Lilith-Chava pairing in anime, especially 90s harem anime. Loved this contrast between this woman who is strong, sexual, iconoclastic, and dangerous, compared to this woman who's submissive, nurturing, traditional, and protective. It's the Madonna whore complex. You know, it's a little bit subverted with Tenchi, because Ayeka is actually just as dangerous as Ryoko, and possibly even meaner. But it's still it's still there, and it is so very much there in Oh My Goddess. Why Oh My Goddess? Belle Dandy is quite possibly the single character in all of anime I hate the most. I hate Belle Dandy so much. Grow a spine already! Anyway, I mean seriously, she's like Shinji. She has unbelievable, phenomenal power and no spine whatsoever.